Greetings, everybody. My name is Artwell, and welcome to the Data-Driven Creative Sessions. Today, we're going to look at components within Google Web Designer. A quick intro. Name is Artwell. I'm the creative lead for Google South Africa, and Marcel is the GMP lead for Google South Africa. So today, we're going to look at components, and it's going to be divided into 4 parts. The first bit is that we're going to quickly recap over what is Google Web Designer. And then we're going to jump into what are components. Then we're going to go into a live demo. And then we'll look at examples of assets that have been created with Google Web Designer. So a quick recap of Google Web Designer. So Google Web Designer is a free tool that you can download. You just need to Google Web Designer, download the asset for both Windows and Apple products. It allows you to create HTML5 assets in a very quick and easy way via drag and drop components, which we're going to discuss today. You also have the ability to design games, websites, pretty much anything that is uses HTML5. So from a return on investment point of view, it is a super tool to have on your artillery of creation tools. What are the top features? You have full control of all your authoring. So, you can create animated, interactive, and dynamic assets all in one place. It's a top authoring tool for all of our Google tools. And as you know, we've got quite a lot of tools. Be able to start from scratch, creating your assets, or you can use templates. You can also deep dive. You can also integrate deeply with DV360 and many of our other assets on the tool, as mentioned earlier on. So what does Google Web Designer allow you to create? So it allows you to create HTML5 assets in a very quick and easy way. It allows you to create dynamic ready assets, which we'll look at in another module. It allows you to create responsive assets and templated assets. So what does that mean for you? You can build much more faster ads. You can build simple and animated assets. It has an easy. You can easily add interactivity within your banner ads. You can drag and drop your components using components feature, which we'll talk about today. It has a built-in validations tool, which constantly tells you how healthy your banner ads are and if they're good enough to go online. It's built for both designers and developers, so you can jump into the code view if you're a developer, or you can use the design view if you're a designer, but you get the same results. You're able to build responsive assets, and most importantly, you're able to build data-driven creative very easily. So let's jump into the components. What are components? So if you look at the interface, if you looked at the previous video, module 2, you would have noted that I mentioned that the interface is built very much to look like Photoshop, in the sense that you've got your tools bar and your alignment bars all at the top here in your timeline. What's different is here, where we have where our components are placed. And within those this panel here, you also have your properties panel. And what that does is it gives you a menu of things that you can start to play around with in the components bar. So if I want to build a 360 gallery, I can just simply drag that gallery onto my banner and then upload images, and my gallery is made for me. So basically what components are pre-made HTML5 packages that are made for you, and you just need to drag in the images that you want to use or the interaction that you want to use. You also have a lot of properties that you can control: the size of the component, the pace of the component, whether it animates in or out. There's lots that you can play around with. And really the only way to show you how it works to jump into a live demo and play around with the tool. So I'm going to jump into Google Web Designer quickly. So as you can see, I've opened up Google Web Designer. I'm going to open up a new file. I'm going to call it demo 1. And I'm going to make a 300 by 250 assets, and I'm going to click OK. So the components panel is all here. I'm not going to jump into all the other features are there. Those are covered in the other videos. But as you can see in the components panels, there's different folders. There's galleries folders, interaction folder, media, graphics, and UI. And there's quite a lot for you to play around with here. So what works hand in hand with components is the properties folder, and I'll show you how. So if you wanted to add a swipeable gallery, you would drag it onto the screen. I did this example in a previous module, and I'd select the size. With the swipeable gallery selected, I can jump into properties. And then I can go into images. I can change all the properties, the size of this. I can change the size. I can change transition, how the swiping transitions and the likes. But for now, I'm just going to keep it simple. I can select my images that I want to be in my gallery. I click OK. Then I can jump into preview. And I've got a swipeable gallery. So that just highlights how convenient and how easy the components make life for you when building. Let's look at other components. So in this folder, I'm not going to go through all of these, but you've got your 360 gallery, your carousel gallery. You've got this gallery navigation, which allows people to control which image they want to see. Swipeable gallery, you've got your transitions gallery. So I'm going to close this. Then what you also have is media. So you can upload different types of media onto your banner assets. So I'm going to say, I want the sound of a car. So the car will go vroom when somebody clicks on the car. So I want it to be the size of the car. I'll then jump into properties. Then I'll go to the source, find the actual sound, and I can then upload it and upload it into the banner. And then once the person goes into the ad, they'll press play and the banner will play. You can set the parameters as to how this works. You obviously don't want the ads to autoplay because that's not a great user experience. You can also upload videos. You can upload the video directly into the banner assets. Say I want the video to play from the corner. You can have a button that says, click here to watch the video of the car, and people will be able to view the video of the car. What's nice is that you can also get videos directly from YouTube. You just drag and drop where you want the video to go, jump into properties, title it, and then add the URL and set how you want it to work. Is it auto playing and all those kinds of things? And then you can have a video that plays directly from YouTube. So you can get really creative as to how you want to use that. Now that's from the media point of view. What you can also do, I'm actually going to jump the graphics and effects and come back to it just now. There's also some standard UI buttons that features that you can add. I assume a lot of people won't use these because they'll design their own buttons, their own checkboxes and the like. But the features are here. You've got your drop-down menu. You've got your text label. So this is the one that you most likely won't use the most because your designers will create the most, will design for the most. Then what we have here is add to calendar. So what happens here is, say this wide car is launching on the 4th of May. You can have a button here that says add to calendar the launch date of this car. So what happens is the person clicks on that on the calendar on the button, and it will add the reminder on the calendar. So how you'd set that up is that you jump into properties, you title it. This is the name that will come up on the calendar. Event dates, you'd add the start dates, the start time, end time, and all these details. You can add the location, the description. You can also add things like what calendars can access this. Is it a Google Calendar? Is it an iCalendar? Is it a Yahoo Calendar? And the likes. Then you also have date swap. So you can say, you can add this and say, on this date, show this car, and then swap it out on this day. So you can show the red car, and then the rest of the time show the blue car. And then you can also add maps onto your banner ads. So this is quite easy. So you just drag and drop where your maps are going to sit. And then you go into Google Maps, you search the region that you want to highlight. And then you look for the longitude and latitude numbers, which are in the URL. Jump into properties. and then you just add those in these two bars here, longitude and latitude. The same goes for Street View. Go into Street View, find longitude and latitude, and you can add those also. And then there's your, typical things like iframe. You can add an iframe. An iframe means that you can add an actual website onto, or web page onto your banner ad. So you just drag and drop the iframe, and then drag and drop the iframe, and then you add the URL, and you can add Google, and then it'll google.com, and it'll show the google.com homepage. So you can get really creative about bringing other pages onto your banner. You can add also some star ratings there. So now I'm going to go back to the top, to the ones that I've skipped. So here you've also got some interaction features that you can use, like gestures, buttons people can click on. Probably the most important of all these components, well, not the most important, but the one that you're going to use the most is the tap area. Tap area is the button that sends people to a specific web page. DV360 won't allow you to upload a banner without having a tap area. You have to direct people to something. It can be a web page, it can be a social media page, it can be YouTube, but as long as you direct them to somewhere. So just tap area. Also, imagine that there's a button on the bottom right. I'll just select the bottom right here. I can go into properties, and then scroll down, and then add the URL into. So apologies, you wouldn't go into properties. With the tap area, you'd have to go into add event. Click onto add event, and then follow the steps there, and then add the URL. And basically that what you're then telling the system is when you tap this, you go to X page. All right, and then there's tap to call, which is quite nice. So if you want to add a phone number to your banner, and when people click onto that phone number, they'll be able to make a phone call immediately. You're also able to add the ability to send a text message also. Again, jumping into properties, you add the number, you can title this, and then you say whether you want it to be a call or a text. So those are some of the interactions there. Now, a really exciting one is Parallax. So Parallax is a way of creating interactive banners that react to the way you scroll up or down. So the best way to show this would be to demo it. So I've dragged and dropped it in. I've clicked on the little pencil to open up a new page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a banner ad for a car company, which is Parallax. So I'm going to go into my Parallax folder, and I'm going to select some images, and I've got these images. So what you'll notice about Parallax is that there's a start and an end phase. So on the start phase, I'm going to place my car and my snow at the beginning. And then on my end phase, I'm going to place my car and my snow at the end. So when you preview, you've got a Parallax ad that is super engaging, and you can get people playing around. I've seen people create ones where there's a jar of peanut butter opening up and closing, where a wheel is spinning back and forward, where a car is turning into a corner and turning out of a corner. So you can get really, really interactive about how you do this. You can also control many things within the Parallax. You can control where the animation starts. You can control where the animation ends, and the likes. You can also play around with the sizes. There's lots of things that you can get engaged with within here. Then when you jump into the preview on the browser, as you can see there, you can actually start to look at this, what it looks like on different mobile devices. So you can test what it looks like on the iPhone 5. You can test what it looks like on the Pixel 3 XL. You can test what it looks like when the phone is placed sideways. So you can get really engaged on. You can get really. You can really dig deep into whether or not the tool is working or not. The next folder that I'm going to jump into is graphics and effects. I'm going to jump into particle effects first. So particles have always been difficult to create and display banners because they make the files really, really big. So what we've done here, and this is also a new tool, is I've made this very, very easy to start playing around with. So I've dragged my particle effects component already. When you click onto the little pencil icon, I can select different particles I want to add. I can add rain, I can add fire, I can add snow. So here I want to add snow because my car is already in a snow environment. I want to control how much snow I want to add. So I want quite a lot. So I'm going to drag there. I can control the pace of the snow, the color of the snow. I can control a lot of things on this side here. Then I click save. So at the moment, you won't be able to see it play out. But when you jump into the preview tool, you'll notice that it's snowing on our banner ad. Okay. So with that, also have seen some fantastic things being done where people are making food banners where there's like this light steam that's coming off it. With the fire, we've seen some burgers on grills. It's a lot of exciting stuff that can be played around with there. We also have the 3D modeling component. So I'm just going to delete this. So with this, you can add the 3D items onto your banner assets. They just need to be hosted in a specific place. Get the URL and then plug it directly into here. This component is very much closely linked with Swirl. I'll go into more detail with both of these a little bit later. So just bear with me. I'm going to jump into a presentation where I'll actually show you more of the functionality you can do. Another exciting component is the image effect. So here, you have the ability to start playing around with the effects that you can use within Google Web Designer. So I've clicked on the pencil on the actual assets. I'm going to go into my desktop. I'm going to click onto here, and I am going to grab the South African flag. I can select what kind of effect I want on it. I can say I want the wave. I can then say, I want, standard type of wave. I want it to be vertical. I can control the pace and the speed. I can control the length. See, it starts to look more and more like a flag. I can remove the trimming. And as you can see, you can create quite a fun asset. You can also have, I don't know if you've ever seen a banner ad where you can do a scratch and reveal. You can also do that. So what you would need here is 2 images. So I am going to select one of my cars. And then I am going to remove the animation. I'm going to say stay revealed, and then I can scratch the flag, and then I see a car in the background. And then there's lots of other features that you can play around with. There's also before and after where you have that kind of scrolling effect happening. You can also create it in such a way that it doesn't autoplay and the person can control what they're scrolling in and out of. So let's just remove some of these and actually create something that's a bit more exciting. So I'm going to add a picture of a box and then browse again, add a second picture of a box. And when you scroll, you open and you close the box, open and close the box. So you can get really interactive with what you create within your display assets on that front. So those are the components in a nutshell and flown through very, very quickly, but I encourage you to play around with them. What's nice about this is that you can create custom elements, custom components, which you can keep saved and continuously used. Again, if you're a very CI heavy customer, you can start to play around with that. Jump into the swirl component, like I mentioned earlier on, where you can start to play around with 3D. So Swirl is super exciting. It allows you to do quite a lot of things, right? So you can, the 3D asset I showed you earlier on just allows you to add the 3D asset, but you can't, you can just, move the 3D asset and look at it, but you can't specifically get engaged with that 3D asset. Whereas with this, it allows you to do a lot of things like changing background color, making the scroll trigger a specific action, change colors and the likes. And the best way to show it is really to show you some examples. So if you look at this first one here, you can see that the background, the car's in the snow, the car's at night, but you can also explore the car and scroll around. With this one here, you can scroll the whole bag, look at the top of it, look at the bottom of it. You can click on something and open the bag. Whereas with this one here, you can have a color picker on your 3D item. So you can scroll around the car, look at the car, and have a color palette. And then the last one, you can look at things like have a phone, click it, open it up, and look at the inside of the phone. So you can really get engaging in how you want to build, and then also target build for your objectives. So here you can see these are specifically for awareness, and these ones are specifically for purchase intent. So a good case study was this perfume company. They really wanted to highlight what the physical attributes of the scent, and they created a bottle where you could look at the bottle, scroll around, and then click, and then look at the scent. So you can see there's lemon, some cinnamon, and all those kinds of things. You can interact with those assets that are inside the bottle. Same goes with Nissan here. They're highlighting a safety feature, so you could follow the car driving and look, get really close to it. But then also see it highlights the safety feature by demonstrating that the car is getting too close to another car, and you could actually fiddle around and play around with that. So let's quickly take a look at a few examples of some assets that have used multiple components and done it quite well. Nexus, I mean, not Linus. They created a 3D phone. As mentioned beforehand, I was going to show you an example. So you see the 3D phone. So what they did is they took the 3D component, placed it on the canvas, and they took the URL of where the 3D phone is actually placed. And then you can stare and look at the phone and really get a good understanding of what this phone looks like. It's super engaging, especially on your mobile device. What they've done here is that they've actually gone a step further and give you the ability to actually play around with the buttons in the actual phone. So if I click on YouTube video plays. So same goes with the, if you click on Chrome, an iframe will pop up, which will have the website inside. Same with the Gmail and the likes. And notice that what you'll notice that there's quite a couple of iframes placed in here. So it's a couple of components on top of components. So, how does your perfect pizza look like? So first choose your perfect sauce. So what you can do is you select the sauce that you want. So you click here. And awesome, you like tomato. I am a big fan of salami. Add salami onto there. So it's awesome, and it's going to give you one more option to select one more menu item. You select it, and what it does, it then shows you the menu variation, the pizza variations with the specific selection that you made. So you can get really, really interactive in how you build and create for using the tool. And using components. Okay, so that's us. Thank you very much. Hopefully you'll watch the next version of which will be should be released fairly soon. Thank you very much.